Okay, here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time in the form of a post-game commentary. And as I mentioned in the end of the Lux video, expect something brutal. This is one of those instances where I'm just not in a good mood. And unfortunately for the Cho'Gath, he's gonna get turned into a punching bag. So as the title implies, we are going Malphite, and the reason for that being is the team needs a tank. I'm basically the last pick and I choose something that fits our team comp, and it's not a fun game to beat Cho. Anyway, the enemy team first picks the Braum support. As for our side, we have to pick our AD carry and our jungler. So there's Caitlyn, and here comes Rengar. So basically with an assassin in the jungle, we did need a tank. And since I was going against Cho'Gath, I figured, yeah, it's going to be a safe lane. I can just pick someone who will scale up, and we can go ahead and collect Malphite's box while we're at it. Now, the main reason for Malphite is what you just saw get locked in. Udyr. So, I play quite a bit of Udyr. He actually has surpassed the fiddlesticks in my stats as of that little clip I put out last week. It's Lucian, by the way. So, what I'm trying to get at is, by playing him, I know who he really struggles against. And if you want to make an Udyr want to curl up and die, Malphite is one of the single best guys you can get. And the reason for that being is, when we get into it, you'll see, he'll try to gank, I throw out my Q, he's slowed, I'm accelerated, there's literally nothing he can do to catch me. I'm just going to walk away, and that's that. When the team fights break out, it's literally the exact same thing. I slow him, he's not getting in there. Period. And then, should somehow he gets in there before you arrive, you can go ahead and hit him with your E, which will take away his attack speed, and then all of his skills don't really mean that much. And then the last insult to injury, it's going to be Lee mid, by the way, Cho'Gath top. The last bit of insult to injury is, as Malphite, you can stack armor. It's really, really good on him, and his W actually gives you more armor based off the amount of armor you have. So, yeah. Anyway, this is the page I'm going to be taking. I swapped that over to Savagery because I need a little help last hit on Malphite. It's not that easy. I also want to take the bonus armor and MR on him because you're a tank. That actually is a little bit significant on Malphite. Otherwise, everything else here is good. I want full points in meditation because Malphite does have a lot of mana issues. And I don't know if I've shown this chroma yet, so I have 2 of them for Malphite in case you're wondering. As for the rune page, I didn't get to show that. 8 AD reds, 1 crit red, scaling armor yellow, scaling armor blues, and movement speed quints. So I'm trying to get in position to ult in, and so on. But yeah, it is not going to be fun to beat Cho. So real quick to talk about this particular matchup, Malphite himself is generally that type of character where you want to stack AD. Or not AD armor. He's not quite like Rammus level where you get to punish them with your W, but you have, gain more defensive stats makes his passive a lot more valuable. Now the thing is, while you do get bonus armor from your W, do not be afraid to stack MR. I cannot emphasize that enough. And you'll see what I mean when I deal with Cho. So in terms of build, the first item I'm going to get is a not a Negatron, it's a Spectre's Cowl. So the reason for that being is Spectre's Cowl plus the Duran Shield I start with is going to be quite a bit of sustain. As long as he can't actually do a prolonged engage on me, I'm just going to heal up whenever we stop skirmishing. Anyway, real quick, I need to point out Udyr is running Ghost, that I applaud him for. He's running Fervor, though. It's a 4-man pre-made, if you didn't notice. I'm suspecting they were thinking, hey, Cho'Gath can go tanky, Udyr can go damage, and all will be well with the world. That's not quite how it's going to play out. And I should mention, normally I'd say, uh-oh, they all 5 have skins, GG, we lose. But yeah, I'm not in the mood here. Anyway, Lucian is running Fervor of Battle, Kate is running Warlords, which is kind of interesting. Generally, I'd expect to see that the other way around because Kate can poke Lucian really, really hard. He gets no sustain from Braum, and what's ultimately going to happen is those 2 are going to get poked down, and then Blitz pulls one of them, and then they die. Really, really simple. Now that I think about it, I did get the S rank on Blitz, but I didn't have a box available at the time, so we could go back to him too. I'm only like 1 or 2 weeks away from actually getting the full 52 weeks of boxes. Probably not going to worry about it too much in the coming season, if I play much at all then. But anyway, Rengar's running Thunderlords. That makes a lot of sense to me since he's all about trying to insta-burst people. He wants to leap in and basically take someone out before they get to do something. Problem is, Rengar is going to run into 3 setbacks over the course of this game, 2 of which in like the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. I'll say within the first 3 minutes. So you'll have to watch the mini-map to see, because I'm not going to be there when the mass invade takes place. So anyway, Duran Shield gives you some sustain. I was thinking Cho was going to start with his E, but he starts with his W because they're invade. Or no, it's his Q he starts with because they're going to invade. And overall with their team, like, they don't have very much reliable CC. They have the Braum slow, but then the other 3 bozos have to get in close enough to actually proc it. And then they could possibly land Rupture, but otherwise that's kind of it. So right there, Lee gets first blood, everyone gets an assist off that. And I didn't really know what to make of it, but Rengar, either he doesn't play Rengar or he doesn't jungle very often. And I'm not basing that off of what just happened there, I'm basing that on what's going to happen next. So right there, Diana's spouting old news, like old updates, I guess. When Flex first came out, they did not let 4 people join up in a pre-made, but since a lot of people took it not as seriously, there were no hostage situations, and as such, they were allowed. I still really don't prefer it, to be honest. Anyway, I'm warding the red buff because I'm thinking it's an Udyr, it's a Rengar. If the 2 of them get into a fight, Udyr is going to rip that cat to pieces. So I was hoping that would keep him safe. Unfortunately, there's a bigger problem at the red buff than the Udyr, and it's going to be Rengar's second setback. So I should also mention the Duran Shield does give you a little bit of additional damage on hit, so I can blast it easier. Now, if I were running Grasp of the Undying, the whole poke thing there would be a lot more effective. Basically, I'd Q him, run in there, hit him for the Grasp, and that would be that. But instead, what I'm doing here, if you don't know, I'm basically being greedy. So I'm going to Q him and then auto-attack him for the Bandit Gold, and right there I've gotten 30 gold from Bandit already, basically 1 free minion. And as long as I keep doing that, the gold differential between us is going to grow, and it's going to get to a point where it's a little ridiculous. I don't think he's running Bandit himself, so yeah. Anyway, now that you know how this lane's going to play out, there it is. Yes, he died to red buff. And unfortunately, that's not the only time that's going to happen. Hence why I said he either doesn't play Rengar or he doesn't jungle. So anyway, right there, I'm going to be maxing Q first. And let's go over how Malphite works. So right there I just Q'd Cho, so I got the speed boost. He still lands his Rupture. Since Udyr just burned his Ghost, I'm cool with going ahead and using my Flash. He's going to hit me, but he can't really do anything on top of that. So right there I want to ping out that he used his Ghost. That's going to basically be like a safe laning phase for Diana now, since I managed to get that out. And when I go back, I want to get a Ruby Crystal for my Spectre's Cowl. And to yeah, Diana just died, I know. Don't worry, she has a rough start. But anyway, to explain how Malphite works and then the significance of the Ruby Crystal. So Malphite's passive is... I don't remember what it's called. But basically what happens is if you don't take damage for a period of time, it starts out at 10 seconds and it goes down at level 7 and 13 down to 6 seconds, you will get a shield. So this shield scales off your max health, hence why that ruby crystal gives me an additional 15 points of shield. Doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, that is a lot at these early levels. And basically that is not like a specific anti-magic shield or so on. It's just a straight up shield. It'll block magic, it'll block physical, it'll block true damage, it will block literally everything. And right here I'm just trying to get to level 7 so that I get the cooldown on that lower, and then I can just keep trading with Cho. But anyway, that's the Malphite passive, nothing particularly fancy. Q is Seismic Shard. You throw out your shard, deals damage, costs a fortune in mana, but the neat thing about it is it slows the enemy, and then you get a speed boost. I think it's like half of what you slow them for or something. And basically that's going to allow me to run away from Udyr whenever he pokes his head up top. Just Q him, and that's it. He literally cannot catch me. It's going to be even worse once I have some CDR, because then I'll permanently have the speed boost if he wants to chase. In case you're wondering, Cho is rushing Raja's Glory if you're looking at the components in his inventory. I was wondering if he was going to go Frozen Heart. And to be honest, that wouldn't necessarily be like a bad thing, because everyone other than me needs to auto-attack as part of their combos. Anyway, the Malphite W, I think it's called Shattering no, that's Brahm's thing. Okay, I can't quite remember. Anyway, for your Malphite W, it has an active effect and a passive effect. The active effect is you'll see Malphite's hands transform, and then all of his attacks become AoE, the basic attacks, that is. It's kind of like a mini Tiamat. It's probably the best way to describe it, I guess. Passive effect is while your passive is active, you get bonus armor, scaling off of your bonus armor. Hence why Malphite is like the second best armor stacker in the game behind Rammus. Although, don't get me wrong, like I was saying, you can get by stacking MR on him too. Rammus not so much these days. So right there is the Malphite W, you see that little ripple on the ground whenever I swing. And I was thinking about freezing it here. There's a lot of minions, so I actually have to kill a lot of them before it will properly freeze, and that does draw Cho back. Anyway, your E is Ground Pound. You will slam the ground, and then everything within that radius of you when you do that will have an attack speed slow applied. Then finally, your ult is Unstoppable Force. You basically charge to a distance, like it's not too far away from you, but it's not exactly like right next to you, it's a short distance away. And then everything there will get knocked up into the air. That is how I'm going to proc Courage of the Colossus on Malphite, and you'll see me do this to jump into the middle of the enemy team at different points of the game. So anyway, we have our Spectre's Cowl, so then whenever we trade, I'm going to heal up off the damage. Gives me a little bit of MR for his poke, gives me a little bit of bonus health, so now my passive shield is 25 bonus instead of 15. And the boots will further make Udyr miserable if he wants to gank top. So from here, what I want is the Abyssal Mask, and the reason for that being is Diana and I deal magic damage. That's going to actually make me a much bigger threat to Cho. I'm never really going to have solo pressure kill on him, but I'm building for the team fights. Overall, I'd have to say, based on just how I'm building here, like, well, since I'm running Courage of the Colossus, not Grasp of the Undying, I think I might have been better off going for Greenfathers so I can just poke out of the brush, hit him, deal some bonus damage, and so on. But if you want to run Bandit, then by all means I'd run Grasp of the Undying, because then you get to hit him for bonus damage just because of the Grasp. So unfortunately I wasn't really keeping track of the Bandit gold here, but at this point it's like 3 bonus minions, I want to say, minimum. And that's not counting the idle minions that died that I couldn't last hit. So anyway, we can talk about how Cho works. The E is those spikes that he shoots out. Odds are he's maxing that first. It's % HP damage. And There is a marker on his buff bar that tells you when it's active. So right there, you can see it there. 2 shots left. So right there is the Malphite ult. Unfortunately right here I don't have the MP to use the Seismic Shard. If I did, he would have died straight out. But instead, Rengar will just flash. And if you heard him right there, he is just getting started. So that's a stack of his Bone Tooth Necklace, and it's a little bit of bad news for the team because it's going to put him in position to snowball, which is really, really bad, especially after that rough start he had. But that's their problem. See right there, Malphite was giving him some advice. Cho, just stay down, man. It's not worth it. So anyway, right here I'm going to go ahead and grab the Catalyst. I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to build for the MR item.
An enemy has been slain.
But the neat thing about the Abyssal Mask is it's going to give me actual sustain. It will give me more MR, so I don't have to worry about the damage that he's going to inflict. It gives me more health for the passive, it gives me more mana for the meditation, and then it amplifies my damage. Like, it's just a great item when you're up against an AP. So right there, I was hoping I could work my way over to Diana to possibly save her, but she died long before I got there. And now Diana does ask the question that I'm thinking. I legitimately don't know, hence why I said one of those is not applicable. He either does not jungle or he does not play Rengar. So right there, as long as we force Cho to farm from a distance, it's not really a problem. And I should talk about the Corrupting Potion a little bit. It needs some buffs, to be completely honest. It's not really that good, especially in cases where your opponent's going to build a Duran shield. The healing from the shield actually is more than the potion burn until like the late levels. And generally you don't even have it by the late levels, so basically when you buy it and your opponent has the Duran shield, it's just the healing aspect of it. You don't really get the bonus damage. Its damage was always a little bit lackluster. It's just, if you're using a dot character, it'd be a little bit better, like Singed. Like, he's probably, him and maybe Sion, maybe, are the only 2 guys I'd probably still build that on. Unless you're going mid, though, because Caston and Fizz can make use of it. I'm talking about top lane, by the way. So anyway, here's Rengar. Right here I want to make it look like I'm trying to gank mid, so I disappear into the brush. In case you're wondering about that pause, most people would interpret that as me dropping a ward. So right here he does land his Rupture, but we don't need to flash. We have the Seismic Shard on him. So right there, Rengar does ult, I kill him with the Seismic Shard, and I'm not running Bounty Hunter here, I'm running Battle Trance. No, I'm not running Battle Trance. So me getting that is not really that good. And right here I was a little pissed that he was trying to take some of the wave. Pretty much the theme for this weekend's games is just gain some of the boxes that I've been holding off on. Malphite is one of them. So I definitely do need the CS. Anyway, right here you can see Malphite kind of sucks when it comes to taking towers. He's a tank after all. First tower goes down in the bot lane, I believe.
Shut down. An enemy has been slain.
There we go with the Catalyst, and we get the Null Magic Mantle. So it's not very fun to be Cho anymore. I basically have 126 MR at this stage of the game. He's rushing Righteous Glory, so he's relying on all of his base damage. And even that percent HP damage that he gets off his E is going to be mitigated by this much MR. Then you have to remember I'm level 10 now, so I do have the passive refresh on 8-second cooldown instead of 10. And we're only a couple levels off from being a 6-second cooldown. So that is not you guys, hopefully, but I was getting IM'd twice during this game, so that's the first one. And there will be another one any second now. And that's that. So yes, that one's me. Okay, it was 3 times. So here comes Blitz, and we're going to go 2v2. So I'm waiting for these two to group together, then that. So right here, Cho uses his Feast on me, but in order to get through the Courage of the Colossus shield, that pretty much absorbed everything. I flash to get behind the minions, and right here I'm trying to poke him down. I wanted to hit him with a Q so I could get away while I wait for my passive to kick back up. Right here I'm waiting for passive, the Duran shield, the Spectre's Cowl, and now that those are back, I want a piece of him. So yes, he landed a max range hook. It also is kind of like, what, in case you're wondering why Lee actually went in for that and everything, I'm stacking MR. He does deal a little bit of magic damage. I think his E is magic and then everything else of his is physical. So you might have been thinking, hey, I can pop this Malphite or something, and it didn't quite go as he imagined, I figured. Anyway, right there, we're going to go ahead and grab the Cinder, because with the completed Abyssal Mask, I now want to start dealing more magic damage. And the Cinder is just basically passive magic damage. That's going to be amplified by 10% because of the mask, and then all my other abilities are amplified 10%. Going to turn that into a Sunfire Cape. And then the next item I want is either a Randuin's Omen or a Thornmail. And if you're wondering why that is, Thornmail itself is magic damage, so when Udyr or Lucian decide to take shots at me, they're going to be on the worst end of it. So yes, I'm not really doing any teleport ganks here for 2 reasons. The first of which is my team doesn't need it, which is the big one. And then the second part is, like I was saying, I want Malphite's box. As such, I do have to step up my CSing. And as I say that, I miss 2. But you can see Cho is not having a very good game here. I don't really think the whole rushing Righteous Glory thing was wise in retrospect. He should have been thinking along the lines of me, hey, I'm up against someone who's going to be dealing magic damage. I should get an MR on him first. Although the funny thing is, the Righteous Glory would help him against Rengar, who has shown up twice. So maybe he's just damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. So anyway, right there he pops his Ghost, I hit him with Q, and basically get a free Summoner spell. As I said, the person you want to play as, if you want to make Udyr hate life, is Malphite. Rammus is like the next worst thing, I'd say, especially after you get Thornmail, because then you can cut into the Turtle Stance healing. But for Malphite, like, you don't even need the taunt. You can just ground pound, and then he's not even hurting your allies anymore since he has no attack speed. And you're wondering what I'm talking about? Let me demonstrate. So wait for these two to group together. Ult in. Udyr dies to the Red Smite. And I don't know if he had their stacks before, but we are starting to fill up that Bone Tooth Necklace. So, extremely devastating roam, and if you notice, I'm having an impact on the team plays, and I'm not having to burn teleport. Overall, I don't really mind taking a pair of tower shots because I have 3 points in the W, so I'm getting a little bit of bonus armor from my runes and masteries. It's not entirely going to waste or anything. But right here, with all these minions, we can finally take this tower. It took forever and a day, but there we go. Timber! Although I suppose that would be funnier if I were playing Malphite. So I'm kind of alternating between W and E here because I'm trying to, for one, become tanky, while two, still having my utility to give to allies. And I'm a little short of being able to get the Sunfire, but I can go ahead and grab tier 2 boots here. Ninja Tappy because I have no respect for Cho whatsoever, and it's going to at least cut into Udyr, Lee, and Lucian's damage. So right here I was riding Blitz off, but he'll be fine. The one who will not be fine, however, is Rengar. You can see that they're all turning around to converge on him. So there's Diana, she goes in. I'm running as fast as I can, but I don't think we have any Wind Dragons, do we? So I'm basically not getting any CS when Caitlyn and Diana are around just because they're better at last hitting with stuff that actually does damage. I can't really afford to spam the Seismic Shard. You can see that that costs an arm and a leg in terms of mana. So my Courage of the Colossus should be on cooldown right there. If we wanted to fight, that's when we should do it. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, let me demonstrate. So let me give you a hypothetical situation. A Malphite and a Diana are going to steal a blue buff that's going to be under contest by a Udyr and a Cho'Gath. So you start this by waiting for them to group up, ulting in, ground pounding the Cho'Gath out of existence, and then kiting the Udyr to oblivion. Not very fun for them. So right there I ping the Abyssal Mask to tell Diana, while you're around me you get 10% extra damage. So it's like in team fights she wants to stick to me because for one I can peel but then deal amplified damage. Now we're going to have another fight here momentarily, but first things first we want to get the tower. So right there I want to ping out my ult, tell them, yeah, we're not going to have this for another minute, don't do anything heroic. And between the three of us, that goes down. So don't forget Diana gets attack speed after using abilities, hence why she was actually using her Q, her ult, and so on. And right here I thought, well, Blitz is dead, but Rengar is going to go in. Yes, it's going to get him killed. So right there you steal the Udyr's movement speed. Right here I wanted to body block this for Rengar, it's just he didn't stay behind me, so Lee's going to kill him with a flash Q. But I'm not going to let them get Diana so easily. So right here I'm trying to body block skill shots and everything that I can. So right there Lee dies to the Caitlyn ult, then she goes ahead and shoots the Braum down, and then Cho goes down. So I got an assist off of every single one of them. And right here I was thinking we could, like, to be completely honest, in that team fight, since there was all that crap going down, I thought the minion wave was obliterated. Turns out we actually did have survivors, so we can go ahead and get the inhibitor and everything, and I wanted to ping them to say, we need to get the Infernal Dragon next. So I'm staying up front so I can Seismic Shard the Udyr. That way, even if he wants to go in on Kate, or not Kate, Diana, we can kite him and then beat him to death. So right there you can see I ended up killing him. And Caitlyn shouldn't really be in their base. They're coming up, it's basically like a recipe for disaster. I was kind of hoping Diana would come with me because I can tank this. Dragon Breath is magic damage, and with all this MR, it's going to be very, very difficult for the dragon to actually hurt me seriously. The thing is, it can do it if this goes on long enough, it's just luckily Kate came by to speed this up. And then if you want to get your box on characters, you do not want to fight the dragon for too long, because this is CS you could be getting, but you're missing. So Rengar goes ahead and smites that for us. And right here I need to recall so I can buy. So right here I wanted to check his stacks. I didn't know I actually could do that, that's what I find out right here. I don't know which one he's missing, but we can see he's missing one. And basically I did want him to tell me which one, because we give that guy more focus to give him his final stack. So right here I was really divided over what exactly I wanted. Locket could be decent, I don't have a lot of bonus health though. I was thinking I'd grab that and then I can either turn it into a Ward, Renewing's Omen, basically ult in and slow everyone, or I could just get a Thornmail. It's flexible. So right here I'm looking at my health regen. I actually have to finish upgrading that Spectre's Cowl to get innate health regen. Otherwise I just have what's coming from the Duran Shield and Mastery or something, I think. Unfortunately for here, I'm not going to teleport in before Diana goes down. But hopefully you can see, that Malphite has a lot of armor, man. I bet they're not safe under their own tower. Because they're not. So right there we slow the Udyr. He pulls Lee of all things. Sadly we couldn't kill him, but we have them on their heels, and as such they're going to throw in the towel right here. So the enemy team has surrendered 4-0, coming up any second now. There it is. And that's that. So if you notice, this was a flawless victory as Malphite. I won the lane, I basically contributed to the team fights, I did everything you should be looking to do in a game. And what's my reward, you ask? First, we have to honor, I believe, Diana I give this to. Yeah. So first reward. That was my promo game. And the second reward is the box. S plus Malphite. So we'll go to the advanced details. You can see I did quite a bit of damage, especially for a tank. Compared to them, they did next to nothing. In terms of damage taken, I wasn't really taking that much because I was pounding Cho. Plus Rengar had a Death Wish. So right there you can check out the stats, review what you want, you can see how I'm doing for gold and so on. But I am out of here. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Okay, so I'm going to throw a little bit of a bonus on the end of that Malphite video. I mentioned I want to do at least one reroll before the change of the season, and I don't have enough IP to buy another shard, and I don't want to mess with the honor capsule I got. So we are going to reroll Cho, Soraka, and I will burn one of the Triss shards since that's the least valuable one here, and I plan on using Fiddlesticks, hence why I say Triss is the least valuable. So this will be the last new character I get as of the season, and it is Katarina. So in case you're wondering why I didn't do the rerolls earlier, is because of that chance happening. Basically I could get someone that's somewhat on the cheaper end of the spectrum. Like, I don't own Corki. I could have gotten Darius if I was really lucky. I could have gotten Brand and so on. Instead I got the 3,150 character, which was actually okay since it was a Soraka shard. Overall, that is more expensive than the individual pieces, and that's one of those rare instances where I guess I could come out ahead. But personally, I was hoping for Rakan.